And then you also talked about teacher training.
Mm-hmm.
What are some specific ways that you've changed teacher training?
How long do we have? So teacher training. So I think largely teachers need much more experience actually in classrooms and actually teaching in classrooms. And so that's one of the things that we need to look at. I think another piece is a lot of the information that they can get in teacher programs is outdated. It's coming from, what's happening on the ground in classrooms is changing so quickly that if you're learning from somebody who taught even 5 years ago and certainly 10 or 15 years ago, it just isn't lining up with what's needed on the ground. And so really thinking about how do you make sure that information is relevant, especially when it comes to technology. I think one of the huge areas for improvement is how are we preparing teachers to use technology when they're in their teacher prep programs. There's data out there, there's a bunch of polls and research that have been done that shows that 3/4 of teachers say that they don't feel prepared to use technology when they walk out of their teacher prep program. That should be when they're most comfortable using technology. It's when they're right fresh off the line, and that's actually among the times where they're the least prepared to use technology effectively. The fact that we're not having all teachers have an experience teaching in an online space before they leave teacher prep programs is sort of, I think, unacceptable. The fact that they're not familiar with open resources and open licensing and what that means for them and how they create and know and recognize what's effective content and what isn't. When the role is to actually be the curators of content, we have to prepare them for that, and largely we're not doing that. And I think one other thing, if I could add in there, is that we don't prepare teachers to connect and engage with personal learning networks when they're in their teacher prep programs. And I think that's a huge disservice, because when they walk out of their teacher prep programs, they need to have a strong network of existing teachers and experts that they're already connecting and collaborating with, and through a variety of ways, through Twitter chats, through online communication, through whatever it is. We can't expect them to then just sort of suddenly start to get that after we graduate them out of the program. From day one, the second you walk into a teacher prep program, we need to be helping them curate their online networks, their virtual professional learning networks. By the way, let me add one more in there. We need to make them competency-based. It's not very helpful for me to say as a teacher, here, I sat through these 5 courses and they're on my transcript. So, okay, I know that you didn't die while you took those courses, right? But it doesn't tell me what you can do. And so if I'm hiring a teacher, what I want to know is, what can you do? And if you have a competency-based model, if you say, here are the things that I can demonstrate, I've demonstrated by somebody that you trust to evaluate that I can do these things, that's much more compelling if I'm looking to hire a quality teacher.
It sounds like a case for badges.
Sure, so badges, so you need a common currency, you need a common skills currency. So it could be digital badges, there's a variety of ways that you could do it, but yes, you absolutely do, and I think badges are a great one. But somehow you need some common currency that I look at and I go, oh, I see this, I know that this means that you have the competency of this thing, that you have this skill, and I don't get that from a transcript. Not helpful.
Yeah, you were also talking about, I can't remember the term, because it's new to me, the personalized learning, the tracking, like Fitbit for kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Are there systems like that?
Sure, there are schools that are using, I call them learning positioning systems, you could call them whatever you want. They're number of schools. In fact, BYU Idaho is a great example. They have an education positioning system that students at BYU Idaho are using. And so they're able to get guidance as they go through and figure out which courses make sense to take when and how to help them plan them through. Also, we're seeing this at the K-12 level too, right? And you have great examples of schools that have, I was just in Mooresville, North Carolina recently, and you have students that are opening up and looking at their trajectory, and I walked over and one of them said, here, look at my trajectory, look at how I'm doing, and I need to do this in order to get my trajectory up. And just to hear students talking about that, if you're looking at any of the research or any of the work around non-cognitive supports and social emotional skills, just talking and understanding and thinking about their learning path is a hugely important skill that they need to learn. And so I think there's some really great examples of places where that's happening now.